Today I want to take a look at MS Flow and how to do search replace operations. So here we are looking at one of the Center of Excellence COE flows that comes with the Center of Excellence dashboard reporting. And this could be any flow. It actually is a very flexible process. But there are times when you're looking at your canvas for the flow designer and you want to try to find something to search and replace. Maybe there's a particular string token, like the URL of a SharePoint site, the email address of a support team, some text value that you're looking for with two different objectives. The first objective, does it exist? Are we using it? And the second objective, replace it with something new. And a lot of times you want to find out, are we using it at all? Like, did I remove the test site from my flow when I made a cloned copy for production? Did I change all of the URLs from test to production? Do I have the email address of the support team, or did I leave the email address of myself from debugging? And being able to do a search and replace across flow is a very powerful operation. The more complex the flow, the more nesting and branching, the harder it gets to navigate these things manually to go and check each and every action step for usage of a particular term. And we don't really have search replace in MS Flow. It's not a feature that Microsoft gave us. However, there is an approach that can get us there, and it involves downloading the file to a zip and then extracting that zip to JSON. So here, for example, we have a flow that sends an email notification when a new item is added to a SharePoint list. And with something like this, we can go back to the main screen and download it as a zip using export zip up here to the top as a way of extracting the flow to an offline file. With an offline file, we can do search and replace. So while Microsoft doesn't offer the feature in Power Automate the Web Designer, we can download the file as a zip, and then we're able to do anything we need to, search, replace, and so forth. With the file downloaded, we can right-click the zip file, extract it to the same location, and what you'll see inside is a manifest JSON and a Microsoft.flow. And that has a single flow with an API map, connections map, and a definition JSON. So the flow itself has a GUID number, which matches the GUID number that we have into the browser. And that's how the flow definitions are tracked. So let's go ahead into this and we'll find the definition. I'm going to open that with VS Code. When we open a JSON file with VS Code, we can do right-click Format Document, and that'll do a lot of the mapping, indentation, and white space. So here we can see the definition of the logic, what the metadata headings are, what the different trigger to start the flow, and then the actions. Triggers and actions are where all of the heavy operations are going to occur. And then, of course, we have connections at the footer. These are going to be external references to other systems. These are all those connection authentication pop-ups that you see. Actions is really the logic of the flow. And then trigger is when does it start. And here you can see this is the trigger action. It's SharePoint Online, and we have the URL of the site, and we have the GUID of the list. And that operation ID is get on new items. So the new items for that particular list ID are tracked by GUID. All of this detail is available to us. This is how Microsoft Flow is rendering the graphical designer in the browser. It uses JSON as input. Down here, we can see the send email action with all of its detail, the HTML body, the subject line, the to line. So if you want to find something, that are you using a particular email address, that's available. You can search for it, you can find it, you can see which action steps are using that. You could do a search replace, move it to a new value. Maybe you want to check to see if you're using your development site or your production site. Those are things we can search for as well. Here I get two references. And here, if we search for URL, we can see that the URL is leveraged in two places. One for the trigger for the get new items, which is happening to the top, and then a second instance for the body of the email. So we're actually using it both in our HTML and for our trigger event. And that's really cool that we can search the JSON of the flow in a flat visual manner where we can navigate to find any URL references, no matter where they're pointed. If it's a action step, a trigger, if it's a parameterized input, this allows us to search and verify things like the development site is no longer used in the flow. We moved everything to production site. Are we emailing the support team or did we email the correct team? Being able to flatten out the flow has a lot of benefits. Okay, and then with the flow updated, we can change the definition.json file. And once we do that, what you'll want to do is navigate back up and send all of this to a new zip file. So if we're making modifications to it, that's fine. We want to go ahead and send to our updated flow.zip, and then we can take that file and go ahead and import it to the system. So just understand that when we're downloading and uploading flow definitions, it's a zip file containing a manifest JSON with a flow folder that holds the logic. And this file right here, definition, the larger file, this has the trigger, it has the actions, and it has the connections. This is going to be the file where we want to focus any search replace operations. And this allows us to lifecycle MS Flow easily using a text editor offline and then upload back to the site when we're ready. Thanks for watching.